yes, I'm back on. Stop worrying.
Take your scrap to CSM, Preston's top scrap metal men. They pay a better price, so this is our advice. Go to CSM.
Turn your scrap metal into cash. Best prices 6 days a week at Carlton Street Metals off Fylde Road, Preston. Phone 729949.
Go to CSM. CSM. Allan Beswick.
Well, I've had a pig awful day, and I'll tell you why a bit later on. But before then, we'll sort of introduce the programme and tell you that I'm Allan Beswick, and with you for the next more or less 4 hours. The phone-in starts in about 3/4 of an hour's time, and you can have your say on, well, as much of your say as you can get in the mood I'm in, on just about any subject you like.
Red Rose Radio.
But be warned, I am in no mood to be messed around. 6 minutes past 10. How do to you? This status quo, they're rocking all over the world. I wish they were anywhere but here. Went up in the loft, because, well, it's a long story. I was decorating the bathroom about a month ago, and I stripped all the wallpaper off the walls. Unfortunately, the plaster came off with it. So I plastered the gaps up. And then we bought some tiles in Darren, or Darwin as the plebs know it. And we bought these tiles and put them on the plaster, and one of them was not quite in the right place, so I slid it. And then I wasn't happy with it, so I tried to take it off, and when I took it off, all the plaster come off with it. I don't know who had our house before, as he was a builder, but if ever I get hold of him, I think I'll cut all his fingers off. He wants having done to him what was done to many a bird. Turkey type on 24th of December. He wants a damn good anyway. And then I'd done that, and I was sort of repairing it today. I did a bit of plastering. Then while it dries, I thought, well, I'll go and increase the loft insulation over the bathroom, and it'll be nice and warm in future. So I went up in loft, and when I was up there, I found this black bitumen paste that I'd been using to seal the roof in the loft. So I thought, well, there's no sense cluttering up the loft, I'll take it downstairs. I got to top at stairs and dropped the pigging thing. Dirty, great, filthy black stuff all down the stair carpet, all up the pigging wall, halfway into the lounge, in the kitchen, up the door, you name it, it got a bit. Well, I'm in no mood. No mood whatsoever. You can't get the damn stuff off, so we've sent away to the insurance. And I phoned up the insurance and I said, hey, do you know that carpet what you replaced in August? He said, what, the one you set fire to? I said, yeah. He said, well, what's up with it? I said, well, I've covered it in black bitumen now. And he said, well, for Christ's sake, don't light it.
Right, line 6, yes?
Hello?
What do you want?
I'm from British Telecom.
Never mind.
I'd like to talk about the phone.
Well, go on then.
You can say so much on the phone.
Not if I cut you off, you can't.
You can say, how are you?
Oh, fine, thanks.
You can say, what's new?
Nout.
You can say, I love you.
Who, me?
Yes, I love you.
Well, that's very kind of you. I'm flattered. You've made my day. I'll phone and tell me mum, and I'll kiss.
For all things great and small, make that call.
Lass in South Pembroke, Auntie Weena. Well, it comes from Queensgate in Castle Northwich, from Crispin Fresh, the name to conjure with. And he says, P.S. In my last letter you call me a gangster for not sending a stamp, and if you don't apologise, me and the boys will come round and give you a jolly good thump on the bottom. Sounds rather nice, actually. If you promise to wear rubber overalls, it's a deal. Please say hello to everyone who knows me. That's Joanna Cullen doing the writing, and also Jane and Mick Paul, and everyone at Stanley High School, and Ellen Robinson or Jay, I don't know what that means, and Natalie. It's a bit on the other side. Oh, it comes from Ellen S in Southport. She says she's going to watch me open the video shop, as I don't know what I look like. How will you know it's me? It might not be me, mightn't it? I mean, it could be somebody else, couldn't it? It could be a son of a preacher man or somebody. He's Rusty Springboard. Boing! Love from Karen Shepherd. Please say hello to all me family at Pilling Lane, Presil, at around 10:30 on the 27th of the 12th, 85. Well, it's 10:27. That's as close as I ever get. And she says a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year and keep on cutting the wallies off. I thought it said wellies at first. I was a bit surprised. She also sent me a Christmas card suggesting that the picture looked a little like me. Aren't you a pretentious little woman sending Marks and Spencer's Christmas cards? Thing is, can I take it back if I don't like it? Knock out. Walking in the Air by Allan Jones. Speaking of in the air, or if you prefer on the air, if you'd like to get on the air and take part in a telephone conversation with yours truly, because I'm doing the Allan Jones bit, you see, rolling the R's. No, not that, dear. No, not a part of the anatomy, dear. An or. It's part of the alphabet, love. It's no good trying to explain to her. The poor woman's fainted. Anyway, rolling me R's and saying, if you'd like to join me on the air, give us a ring now on the telephone. There's no R in that. I'm very disappointed. The number is Preston 561,000 and our Alice is checking your calls. And don't come on mauling about, because I can't be bothered. I want sense tonight. Sense. Nouse on wireless. Only 10 to 11. It's time for us to go to phone-in lines and join our first caller of the evening. How do to Scott?
Hello, Alan.
Hello, Scott.
It's the way it has to be.
I'm sorry?
It's the way it has to be.
I'm sure it is. How do Celia?
Celia Bollocks here, Alan.
What? Quite. How do Sean?
I think it's Shane.
Well, it either is or it isn't.
Yeah, well, it's Shane.
It's Shane. Very good. Hello, Shane.
I'd like to talk about the pollution in St Helens and how terrible it is.
Then let us hear it.
Well, I was walking down the street yesterday and I could hardly breathe for the pollution in St Helens.
I see.
It's terrible.
Do you indeed? You could hardly breathe.
Yeah, because
Gasping, were you?
the pollution's from the nearby factories.
I see.
I'd like to hear your opinions on what you think about all this.
Not being someone that spends much time in St Helens,
Well, I think it's
I
a
don't
problem
know.
everywhere.
I'm sorry?
I think it's a problem everywhere.
It isn't where I live. I live in the middle of the countryside. It's not a problem at all there. But I do appreciate we have an awful lot of filth in our atmosphere. But it's not just factories causing it, is it? I mean, people cause it by burning coal, like I do, for instance. Other people cause it, including me, by using motor vehicles. I mean, what are you suggesting? That we deindustrialise society?
Well, I'm suggesting they try and invent something that tries to cut out all the smoke and pollution that there is. Can't they try and find some kind of material to burn that isn't as bad for you? Because I've heard on Granada reports and things like that people living up here in the northwest are more likely to die earlier than they are in the countryside and things like that.
Well, that's absolutely
Quite
true.
worrying.
It is worrying. Why don't you go and live somewhere else?
Well, I can't really move yet. It's my parents.
Oh, I see. Well, how old are you?
16.
No, and I believe you. Right then, well, all I can say is when the opportunity arises, perhaps you should go and live down south where the air is clear and wonderful, so I'm told.
Right then.
Cheers. I do agree, there's far too much air pollution. I don't really know what we can do about it. How do David?
Hello, Alan. This is the AGS, Anti-Gay Squad. We kill or quit.
How do Adam?
Hello, Alan. I'd like to talk about Ian Botham, please. Is that all right?
We shall see.
I think it's disgusting that he should be allowed to play for England after he's been found guilty and convicted of a drug offence. I mean, all these sportsmen are supposed to be setting a good example to the young people. But by taking drugs, I mean, what sort of example is that?
Well, allow me to point out to you, first of all, Adam, that he was not convicted for taking drugs. It's nice to introduce an element of fact to the conversation, isn't it?
Yes, but he was found guilty.
Of what?
Of being in possession of cannabis.
Yes, he was. And what were the circumstances of the case? Do you recall?
No, I don't recall that.
Well, perhaps you ought to consider all the facts before you start shouting your obviously ill-informed gob off.
He was in possession of cannabis.
There was possession found on his property, and he denied that it was for his use or any of his family's use, and denied knowledge of the presence of it, and said that it was possibly left by some guest in the past. He disclaimed all responsibility for it, although he was, of course, legally responsible for something found on his premises. He also, at the time, made national statements decrying the use of such drugs. I think that's a very responsible attitude to adopt, don't you?
Come on, the police aren't idiots, you know. They're not going to...
Indeed, they're not idiots. I am not for 1 second suggesting that they are. I am saying, yes, they found the commodity on his premises. Yes, he is guilty of an offence, but nobody proved, or indeed attempted to prove, that it was there for his use. He was not convicted of using it. He did decry the use of it. Can you ask for more?
All right, we'll put that point aside then.
Why put it aside? Why not get the cretin that's whispering to you to ask or consider the point? And then when you've managed it together, your joint brain... No, I will not listen to you, because I do not speak to people via third parties. It's the gobbo in the background doing the whispering hasn't the guts to come on the phone, then tell the dirty, filthy, greasy little wimp to push off. Hello, Dominic. Thank you, Dominic. That was a waste of money for you, wasn't it? Hello, Alex.
Hello. What would you do if a bird feasted on your window ledge? Don't take her out again. Hey, that's a good one, that, isn't it? Yeah.
I'm sure you think so, Alex. I suggest you stop buying that particular brand of Christmas cracker. How do Colin? Colin's gone. Good. How do Richard?
Hello, Alan? Alan?
I presume you're about to tell us what you want.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
You said a while ago that you weren't a vegetarian. Is this true?
Do you think it's true?
I don't know.
Does it matter?
Yes.
I see. Why does it matter to you whether I'm vegetarian or not?
Because do you believe in the slaughter of animals?
Why does it matter to you whether I'm vegetarian or not?
Because I'm concerned about it.
Are you vegetarian?
Yes.
Why?
Because I don't believe in killing animals.
I see. Are you a vegan?
No.
No, you drink milk.
Yes.
Despite the fact that milk is obtained in a diabolical way. Do you eat cheese, hard cheese, like Cheshire and cheddar?
Yes.
Did you know that hard cheeses such as cheddar and Cheshire contain a commodity called rennet? Do you know where rennet is obtained from?
Yes.
Where?
From the stomach.
The stomach of what?
Of an animal.
A dead animal.
Yes.
In other words, you could not eat that cheese were it not for the fact that an animal is slaughtered. You are a hypocrite, aren't you?
No.
You are. You say you do not approve of the slaughter of animals, and yet you eat the product thereof.
But that would not...
There is no but. It is a fact. That is hypocrisy. In its essence. You are a hypocrite. Come to terms with it. Accept it. All right?
Right.
Good night.
No.
How do, Andrew?
Alan?
Hello?
Let's talk about horses, please.
No.
Well, can I?
We shall see.
Well, a couple of months ago, right?
I have no knowledge at all as to whether this is right or not. You will have to just rely upon me and not bother to question me as to whether it is right or not again.
I didn't say right.
Well, somebody did, and I'm almost convinced it was not I. Proceed.
All right. Anyway, this horse came up to me, yeah?
Now you're saying, yeah. I don't know. Are you stupid? I do not know what transpired. It's no good attempting to confirm it with me. Ring back when you've mastered some of the language. Mike.
I'd like to talk about radio.
Radio?
Yeah.
Go on.
Well, there are many different radio stations, and there's these pirate radio stations, right? And I don't see what's illegal about them.
Well, what is illegal about the mic is the fact that we have in this country a Broadcasting Act. Whether that act should exist is another issue. It does exist. Therefore, people in breach of said act are committing an illegal act. That is what is illegal about it. Very good. Amateurs get up my snotter. They really do. Hello, Andrew.
It's Steve's time, isn't it?
No. It will be in 25 seconds. How do Derek?
Hello, Alan.
Hello.
Happy Christmas.
Thank you. Christmas is well and truly over, as indeed is our conversation with the prat called Alec. 'Tis time for the news now. Well, in a second or two anyway.
Red Rose Radio.
The 11 o'clock news, this is Bill Bingham.
So the AA says drive with care. I hope you obey them. Welcome for the first time. Either way, if you want to join us on the phone in, the number is Preston 561,000. How do Neil?
Hello, Alan. You know when you announce the news on the radio? Well, there's a 7-second delay, isn't there? So which is right? When you announce it and it comes out over the phone, or when the 7-second delay comes out?
The answer to that is they're both right, except one arrives to the radios around the county 7 seconds late. In other words, if you set your watch during the course of this programme at exactly the moment when the person says independent radio news, it is 11 o'clock or whatever, then your watch will be 7 seconds slow.
Yeah. Oh.
All right?
Okay then. Thanks, Alan.
A pleasure. How do Ian?
Well, I'd just like to talk about murder charges. The sentences that they get just aren't long enough.
Is that it?
Well, there was a guy, I read it in the paper the other day, he murdered his wife because he found her sleeping with another guy, and he only got 3 years.
How long do you think he should have got?
Well, his life.
His life?
Yeah.
What would be the purpose of that?
Well, just murdering someone.
Yes, I know what the crime was. We've understood that. What would be the purpose of the life sentence?
Teach him a lesson.
But what would be the purpose of teaching him a lesson?
Well, he took somebody else's life.
Yes, no, you're telling me why do it. I'm asking you the purpose. You say to teach him a lesson. What lesson?
Not to take someone else's life.
But what is the point of teaching him not to take somebody else's life if he will never be allowed out into the public?
Well, it's likely to do it again, isn't it?
No, is the answer to that.
Well, why not?
Because the situation that contributed greatly to the act of murder is hardly likely, A, to arise again, and B, he doesn't immediately become someone who has a desire to kill. You see, if you put him into prison, and you say, right, you're in prison for the rest of your natural life, he really has nothing to lose, has he? In fact, it could invite further crime. He could decide he didn't like one of his fellow inmates, so murders him, because they can't extend the sentence. He may decide he doesn't like a prison officer, and murder him. He may decide to scoot and kill anybody that gets in his way. So the sentence may well actually have the reverse effect of what you seek it to have.
Well, I mean, I don't think 3 years is for killing someone.
Indeed, I agree that 3 years on the face of it is not an adequate sentence for murder. But we have to look at the facts of the case, and the people we appoint to do that are judges. Now, what I say to you is, if 3 years is not enough, what sentence would you like?
Well, at least 20.
At least 20. A minimum of 20 years for murder, no matter what the circumstances.
Yeah.
How would you define murder, Ian?
Well, murder when it was obvious, you know.
What do you mean obvious? Obviously what?
Found guilty of it.
Yes. How would you define the crime of murder?
By killing someone.
Killing somebody. So if you were driving home in your motor vehicle this evening and you'd lost control of it for reasons beyond your ability to control, say an unexpected puncture, and killed somebody, you would expect a minimum of 20 years for that.
No, I mean...
No. So we've established that there is a difference between killing per se and the crime of murder. Yeah. Now, where does that decision as to whether it is murder or merely a killing lie, in your mind?
With the jury.
No, in your mind, I said. Where do you draw that particular line? What I'm trying to establish, Ian, is which criminals, which killers you want to get this minimum 20 years.
Well, not people who, like that instance that you gave, that was obviously an accident.
Right, we've established that. Now, what if the person hadn't maintained his or her car properly? Of course, they've then contributed to it, haven't they?
Yeah.
They've taken a risk. Are they to go away for 20 years?
No.
No. Right. So we've established that if you take a course of action that could result in somebody's death, and does result in somebody's death, you're not necessarily guilty of murder in your eyes, and therefore required to serve this minimum 20-year sentence.